So there is a lot of confusion about exactly what people mean inside of DC whenever they use specific terminology, and I know what you're thinking. How, Lumos? It's not like it's an anime or manga where you have to translate things from other language and mistranslations happen. And I feel you on that, but it doesn't stop people from being unable to actually read the scans, even if they are in their first and often only language, English. So today we cover a massive issue of the Omniverse versus the greater Omniverse inside of DC. That being said, let's do a deep dive into what the greater Omniverse is in comparison to the DC Omniverse to help those who are a little confused by the vast history of comics or the misinformative goons out there who try to lie their way to victory. What's up guys, it's me Lumos Theramax, and today we're discussing the differences between the greater Omniverse and the Omniverse. And this was actually something requested by the Theramax Corps, so I'm glad I could get one of these bad boys out early for them. I've got a few new videos coming out down the way, and sorry I've been so absent. I just finished my move, and you guys will get to see the grand reveal on that a little bit down the way. But with no further ado, let's get right back into the greater Omniverse versus the Omniverse. What's going on with that? So to start things off, let's simply discuss the term Omniverse. So what exactly is an Omniverse? Well, the term Omniverse is defined differently depending on whichever verse is utilizing it, to be 100% honest. Sometimes the term is just a fancy word for multiverse, and sometimes it's in reference to far larger structures than simply something multiversal in scale. But when it comes to DC, how they use the term will change based on a specific time frame. Before the year 2018, they didn't really invest much into the term, but we begin to get a modern and solid definition for what Omniverse is around this specific time frame. It's during Scott Snyder's 2018 Justice League run where the term Greater Omniverse comes about. The Greater Omniverse is a massive concept containing the collective of all multiverses that are known to us inside the very large creation of DC, including the main multiverse, or what I refer to as like Multiverse Prime. Now, the Greater Omniverse is kind of like the Orrery of Worlds, but instead of them being a collection of worlds inside the Bleed, it's on the scale of entire multiverses, like the entire multiverse map that were created across the Overvoid by figures like the Hands, who are given creation powers from the Source or the Present. The Greater Omniverse doesn't include the Overvoid specifically, just the multiverses that sit inside of the Overvoid, so they are somewhat on a similar level. Why? Well, we see the Brothers 3 here reference the fact that the Greater Omniverse and the Overvoid are on the same side of the Source Wall, clearly referencing the fact that the Greater Omniverse is located beyond our localized multiversal map. Especially considering this wall was the same wall meant to contain Perpetua's original flawed multiverse, and is the first and original Source Wall that existed around our creation. And in unison with Grant Morrison's map of the multiverse, you can see the Overvoid does exist past everything on the map, so there's no doubt there. It's also important to note that other multiverses inside the Greater Omniverse have seemingly existed long before our specific multiverse, as Mar-Novu, the Monitor, peered out into the Overvoid and saw these other creations, and even in this prior iteration of the multiverse when it was extremely young. So that's pretty much it. The Greater Omniverse is just an infinite collection of multiverse maps or cosmological multiverses within DC's context as a structure being referenced all at once. Pretty straightforward, right? Well, get ready to enter some confusion. You see, also something that happens after that Scott Snyder's Justice League series, and at the end of Death Metal, something happens. The multiverse, the entire thing, is restored by the Hands in a way that is all new, all different. And no, that's not a reference to Marvel, I swear. It also has an infinite frontier in terms of how it was recreated, and it's larger than it's ever been. This includes the size of the multiverse where, and I quote, not just Earths, whole multiverses, an infinite web of multiverses, are growing inside of the multiverse now, and it is no longer blocked off by such things such as a localized 52 Orrery as they had been in the past. The multiverse itself grew so large it's referred to as a sort of omniverse. From this point on, many multiversal figures reference the multiverse of Multiverse Prime as the Omniverse due to this cosmological buff that DC had received. This also makes sense that many figures from this point on are referencing our multiverse, not the greater Omniverse, considering not even Mr. Mxyzptlk had info on things past the 6th dimension, the final layer of our multiverse, so chances are lesser beings like Vandal Savage or even Lex Luthor wouldn't have a vast amount of information more than he would on this specific subject. This also gives us some sort of a clear definition to the word Omniverse the way DC refers to it. Why? Well, They seem to imply that the addition of an entire multiversal structure with no limitations in any shape, way, or form is considered an omniverse, which is why they now classify our specific multiverse, Multiverse Prime, as an omniverse. This classification also explains the greater omniverse as well, a collection of infinite multiverses, which just so happens to include our own. The term the greater omniverse and the omniverse is just a specific way of explaining major chunks or parts to DC in kind of like a simplified way. DC is a big fan of doing this just to help people understand the massive cosmology, even though at times it causes confusion because writers and authors change over time, and the business changes to be reflective of that. There is one other reference to help us out with the size of what like Multiverses Prime Omniverse is represented as. In Flashpoint Beyond, we see a theorized version of how the Omniverse is described via the Divine Continuum. And here it included the multiverse, the metaverse, which should be at least Earth Prime, the Dark Multiverse, and the Spear of Gods. Basically everything within the multiverse map where traditional concepts exist. Wait a minute, you think? Would that mean that our local multiverse, or Multiverse Prime, might be as large as every other creation in the Omniverse? I mean, they are both called Omniverses, right? Well, surprisingly, that's an interesting idea to consider. Both are being referred to as an Omniverse and have similar descriptions, and we know that Multiverse Prime seems to be special and unique amongst any other creation that exists, drawing the attention from the strongest beings of the verse of DC consistently. Examples of this include like the Presence, the Great Darkness, the Cosmic Raptor, the Monitor Mind, and even the attention of the Source itself. I feel like I could continue all day on this, but we might be approaching another video with this entire topic. 200 likes or more and I'll finish those thoughts in another video. However, something else important to note is that there are statements from certain figures that have stepped back on some potential things they had mentioned prior, or at least they might have, according to some people. Lex Luthor is the main guy going crazy with this, the entire league in totality on the statements for the all new, all different, and infinite sort of omniverse of Multiverse Prime, remember? Well, here he is saying the idea is false. However, he then goes on to say it created an imbalance in our multiverse, one that Pariah was manipulating. How did it create an imbalance if it did not exist? Clearly, Lex here is saying that the current iteration of the multiverse in the omniverse format can't exist and is causing damage to reality trying to exist. It's just one of those out of context things that gets changed by the end of the comic due to Pariah's very actions. It would also be weird to see Lex Luthor somehow dancing around that idea across the table of scientists and magicians that were in the totality, and he just somehow got away with lying to them all and convincing them of it without any sense of any true evidence. That seems a little bit unbelievable to me. I mean, who believes Lex Luthor without evidence? Am I right? I mean, after all the years? Come on now. But did you learn something new? Did I give a good definition of greater omniverse versus the omniverse? If so, let me know down low. And be sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to get up to basically 10K. We're on that trip officially, so I'm really looking forward to making that happen for you guys. And if you want more content, trust me, more content comes the more people like and subscribe to this bad boy. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy the next video, which will hopefully be the difference between numbered worlds and numbered dimensions. But no further ado, we'll catch you next time. It's great to be back, Lanterns.
Aftermath, you'll join my list of dead after I tear you in half. And I laughed at the thought of them controlling me. I'm the ultimate dragon that spawned everything. I resist and defy.